Daniel Hayes stood frozen in his driveway, watching the moving truck next door unload furniture he couldn't afford to care about. He had rules now, simple ones. Work, his daughter, nothing else. Then she stepped out, 24, laughing at something the movers said, blonde hair catching afternoon sun like it had business being that bright. Their eyes met for exactly 2 seconds, long enough for him to know this woman would be a problem, long enough for her to smile like she already knew it too. He looked away first, jaw tight, and walked inside without saying a word. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something. Stick with me until the end of this story. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this reaches. Now, let's get into it. Daniel's kitchen smelled like burnt toast and regret. He scraped blackened bread into the trash while Emma, his 6-year-old daughter, sat at the table drawing purple horses with anatomically incorrect legs. She hummed something tuneless, completely unaware that her father had just committed carbohydrate murder for the 3rd time that week. "Daddy, why do you always burn stuff?" "Talent," Daniel said, dropping 2 new slices into the toaster. "Years of practice." Emma giggled, and the sound hit him the way it always did, right in the center of his chest, sharp and sweet and absolutely terrifying. Everything good in his life sat at that table wearing mismatched socks and asking questions he didn't have answers for. The toaster popped. He watched it like a bomb defusal expert. Perfect golden brown. "See?" he said, holding up the evidence. "Redemption." "What's redemption?" "Getting it right the second time." Emma nodded like this made complete sense, then went back to her horses. Daniel buttered the toast, cut it into triangles the way she liked, and tried not to think about how many second chances he'd already used up in 32 years. The doorbell rang. Daniel frowned. Nobody rang his doorbell. He didn't have that kind of life anymore, the kind where people just showed up. He'd left that behind in another city, another version of himself he didn't particularly miss. "Stay here," he told Emma. "Is it a stranger?" "Probably." "Then I should come with you. Safety in numbers." Daniel looked at his daughter, who stared back with absolute conviction that she, at 6 years old, could somehow tip the scales in a dangerous situation. "You've been watching too much TV," he said. "We don't have TV." "Fair point." He walked to the front door, Emma trailing behind him despite his instructions, because she was 6, and instructions were more like suggestions when you were 6. Through the frosted glass, he could see a figure. Not tall, feminine shape, definitely not a threat, unless you counted the kind of threat that wore sundresses in October. Daniel opened the door. The woman from next door stood on his porch holding a ceramic dish covered in aluminum foil. Up close, she was worse than he'd thought. Prettier in a way that seemed almost aggressive, like her face had decided to make a point about genetics. Green eyes, real smile, not the polite kind people used when they were pretending. "Hi," she said. "I'm Lily. I just moved in next door." Daniel said nothing. Lily's smile didn't falter. "I made too much lasagna. Thought you might want some." "We're good." "Dad," Emma said from behind him, "that's rude." Well, Lily laughed. An actual laugh, not the fake tinkle some women did when they wanted to seem charming. "I like her already." "She hasn't learned proper stranger danger yet," Daniel said. "I'm not a stranger, I'm your neighbor." Lily held out the dish. "And this is really good lasagna, my nonna's recipe." "Well, technically I found it on a blog, but the woman who posted it said it was her nonna's recipe, so transitively, it counts." Emma tugged on Daniel's shirt. "What's a nonna?" "Italian for grandmother," Lily said, crouching down to Emma's level. "What's your name?" "Emma Rose Hayes. I'm 6 3/4. "That's very specific." "Specificity is important," Emma said, which was something Daniel had told her once, and now she repeated like gospel. Lily grinned. "You're absolutely right." She looked up at Daniel. "Your daughter's smart." "I know." "And you're conversational." Daniel almost smiled. Almost. "I appreciate the lasagna, but we're fine." "Are you, though?" Lily stood still holding the dish. "Because you look like a man who burns toast on a regular basis." Emma gasped. "How did you know?" "Lucky guess. Lily pushed the dish toward Daniel. "Take it. If you hate it, you can throw it away and I'll never know. If you love it, you can bring back the dish and tell me I'm a culinary genius. Either way, we both win. Daniel took the lasagna because refusing it a third time would officially make him an asshole, and he was trying to be less of one these days. Thanks, he said. You're welcome, Daniel. He hadn't told her his name. Lily caught his expression and shrugged. Mailbox, I'm observant, not creepy. Debatable, Daniel said, but there was no heat in it. Lily smiled again, that same real smile that made him uncomfortable in ways he didn't want to examine, and walked back toward her house. She moved like someone who'd never been told to make herself smaller, all long strides and easy confidence. Daniel closed the door. She was nice, Emma said. She was something. Can we eat the lasagna? Dinner, maybe. Can I have toast now? Daniel looked at his daughter. You just had toast. That was breakfast toast. This is second breakfast toast. You're not a hobbit. Emma considered this. But what if I was and just didn't know it yet? Daniel gave up. Fine. One slice. He made her another piece of toast, perfectly golden again. He was on a roll, and watched her eat it while standing at the counter. Through the kitchen window, he could see Lily's house. She was on her porch now, watering plants that looked half dead. He shouldn't be watching. He looked away. That night, they ate the lasagna. It was the best thing Daniel had tasted in months, which annoyed him more than it should have. He didn't want to like it. He didn't want to like anything about the woman next door with her easy smiles and her Nona's probably fake recipe. This is really good, Emma said, cheese stretching from her mouth to her fork, in a way that would have been disgusting if it wasn't so enthusiastic. It's fine, Daniel said. You're eating it really fast. I'm hungry. You're always hungry. I'm a growing boy. Emma laughed, and Daniel felt something in his chest loosen. These moments, just him and her, eating dinner at a scratched-up table in a house that wasn't much but was theirs, this was enough. This had to be enough. Later, after Emma was asleep, Daniel washed the ceramic dish. He stood at the sink longer than necessary, scrubbing something that was already clean, trying to decide if he was going to return it tomorrow or wait a few days to prove some kind of point to himself. His phone buzzed. Text from Marcus, his only real friend in town. You still alive? Daniel typed back. Barely, that's the spirit. Beer tomorrow? Can't. Emma. Bring her. She's better company than you anyway. Probably true. Definitely true. See you at McReady's, 6 p.m. Daniel put the phone down and looked at the clean dish. Then he looked at the window. Lily's lights were on. He could see her moving around in what was probably her kitchen, just a shadow through curtains. He turned away and went to bed. McReady's was the kind of bar that smelled like beer and poor decisions, but had good wings and didn't mind if you brought a kid as long as she stayed at a table and didn't ask too many questions about why grown-ups needed daddy's special juice to have conversations. Marcus was already there, looking exactly like he always did. Flannel shirt, beard that he claimed was rugged, but mostly just looked like he'd forgotten what razors were, and an expression that suggested life was one long practical joke he was in on. Emma! Marcus scooped her up like she weighed nothing. You get taller every time I see you. That's how growing works, Emma said seriously. She's got you there, Daniel said, sliding into the booth. Marcus put Emma down and ruffled her hair, which she tolerated because she liked him. Got you the usual, he said to Daniel, pushing a beer across the table. And for the lady, one Shirley Temple, extra cherries. Emma's eyes went wide. Really? Would I lie to you? Yes, Emma said. You told me last time that chocolate milk came from brown cows. That's not a lie. That's just rural education. Daniel took a drink and let their banter wash over him. This was good. Normal. Marcus had known him before everything went sideways. Knew about Emma's mom. Knew about the job Daniel lost. Knew about all the ways life could kick you in the teeth and expect you to say thank you. So, Marcus said, after Emma had been thoroughly bribed with cherries and was now coloring on the kids' menu, you meet your new neighbor yet? Daniel's hand tightened on his beer. Why? Because I drove past your street yesterday and saw a very attractive woman carrying boxes into the Peterson place. Figured you'd have introduced yourself by now. She introduced herself to me. Marcus grinned. Even better. What's she like? Young. How young? Too young. For what? Daniel gave him a look. Don't. I'm not doing anything. I'm asking about your neighbor. That's called being friendly. She brought us lasagna. And? And it was good. Marcus laughed. Man, you are so screwed. I'm not screwed. I'm being realistic. About what? About the fact that I'm a single dad with a 6-year-old and more baggage than an airport carousel. The last thing I need is some 20-something girl thinking I'm a project. Did she say you were a project? No. Did she do anything other than be nice to you? No. Then maybe, Marcus said, leaning forward, she's just being a decent human and you're being a paranoid asshole. Daniel didn't have a response to that. Emma looked up from her coloring. Uncle Marcus said a bad word. Put it on his tab, Daniel muttered. Marcus pulled out his wallet and handed Emma $1. For your swear jar. We don't have a swear jar? Then buy yourself something nice. Emma pocketed the $1 with the seriousness of someone who understood the value of a hustle, then went back to her drawing. I'm just saying, Marcus continued, maybe don't assume the worst about everyone. Some people are exactly who they seem. And some people aren't. Yeah, well, Marcus picked up his beer. That's what makes life interesting. Daniel returned the dish 3 days later. He told himself he was waiting because he was busy. Work. Emma. Normal life things. But the truth, which he didn't want to acknowledge, was that he'd been avoiding it, avoiding her. It was Sunday afternoon. Emma was at a birthday party, some kid from school whose name Daniel could never remember, but whose parents had enthusiastically invited every child in the first grade. He dropped her off with a wrapped present and a stern instruction to be good, which Emma had immediately ignored by running inside, screaming about cake. Now he stood on Lily's porch, holding a clean ceramic dish, feeling like an idiot. He knocked. Footsteps. Then the door opened and Lily appeared wearing paint-stained jeans and an oversized t-shirt that said, I break for cryptids. Daniel, she said, and her whole face lit up like they were friends, like they'd known each other longer than 30 seconds of awkward porch conversation. You brought back my dish. You said I could. I did. I didn't think you actually would. She stepped aside. Come in. I shouldn't. Do you have somewhere else to be? He didn't. Then come in. I want your honest opinion on my living room color scheme. Against his better judgment, Daniel walked inside. Lily's house smelled like paint and vanilla candles. The living room was chaos, furniture pushed to the center, covered in drop cloths, walls half-painted a warm terracotta that actually looked pretty good. I'm thinking accent wall, Lily said, gesturing at the far side. Maybe a deep teal, or is that too much? I don't know anything about interior design. But you have eyes. Do you like it? Daniel looked at the walls, then at her. She was watching him with genuine interest, like his opinion actually mattered. It's nice, he said finally. Warm. Lily smiled. See? That's helpful. My sister said it looked like I was painting the inside of a Tuscan villa, which I think was meant to be an insult, but I'm choosing to take as a compliment. You have a sister? 2. Both older, both very convinced they know what's best for me. She walked toward the kitchen. Want coffee? I just made a pot. I really should go. Daniel! Lily turned, fixing him with a look that was half amused, half challenging. It's just coffee. I'm not asking you to marry me. I know that. Then why do you look like I'm holding you hostage? Because you make me nervous, Daniel thought. Because I don't remember the last time someone looked at me like I was interesting instead of complicated. Fine, he said. Coffee. Lily's kitchen was smaller than his, but somehow felt bigger, maybe because of the plants on every surface, or the art prints taped to the walls, or the fact that she clearly actually used her kitchen for more than burning toast. She poured 2 mugs and handed him one. Milk? Sugar? Black's fine. Of course it is. She leaned against the counter, cradling her own mug. So, single dad. That's the whole story? Daniel tensed. That's pretty personal. Is it? I figured it was just biographical data. Most people don't ask. I'm not most people. Lily took a sip of coffee, watching him over the rim. You don't have to tell me anything, but you also don't have to act like basic human conversation is an interrogation. She was right, which annoyed him. Emma's mom left when she was 2, Daniel said, the words coming out flat, rehearsed. We tried for a while after that, but some people aren't built for the family thing. So it's just us now, has been for 4 years. Lily didn't say she was sorry, didn't give him the pitying look he'd gotten from every other person who'd heard this story. She just nodded. That's hard, she said, doing it alone. We manage. I'm sure you do. She set her mug down. For what it's worth, Emma seems great. Happy. That doesn't happen by accident. Something in Daniel's chest went tight. Compliments about his daughter always hit different, got past his defenses in ways nothing else could. She's the best thing I ever did, he said quietly. I believe it. They stood there in her small kitchen, not talking, and somehow the silence wasn't awkward. Lily had that quality, the ability to make space feel comfortable instead of tense. What about you? Daniel asked, because fair was fair. What brings someone your age to a neighborhood full of families and retirees? Someone my age, Lily repeated, amused. You make it sound like I'm fresh out of high school. You know what I mean. I'm 24, not 12. And I moved here because rent's cheap and I can work remotely. I'm a graphic designer, freelance, which means I can live anywhere that has decent internet and won't drive me slowly insane. And you picked here. I picked quiet. I picked space to figure things out. She met his eyes. I picked a place where I could be myself instead of who everyone expects me to be. Daniel understood that more than he wanted to. That makes sense to you? Lily asked. Yeah, he said. It does. Her smile was softer this time, real in a different way. Good, she said. Then we understand each other. Yeah. After that, it became a thing. Not planned, not official, just a thing. Lily would be outside watering her half-dead plants when Daniel got home from work. They'd wave, sometimes talk. Small stuff. Weather. Neighborhood gossip. The fact that the guy 3 houses down definitely ran some kind of pyramid scheme. Emma loved her, which made sense because Emma loved everyone who didn't actively try to eat her, and even then she'd probably give them a chance. Miss Lily says I can help her paint, Emma announced one evening, dragging Daniel toward Lily's porch, where the woman in question was sitting with color swatches spread around her like a rainbow exploded. I didn't say you could, Lily corrected. I said if your dad said it was okay, you could help me pick colors. Emma turned her full force on Daniel. Please? I have very good taste. You wanted to paint your room black last month. That was a goth phase. I'm over it. You're 6. Age is just a number, Dad. Lily laughed, and the sound did something to Daniel's brain chemistry he didn't want to examine. She can help, he said. If you're sure. I'm sure. Lily handed Emma 3 swatches. Okay, design expert, bedroom. Which one? Emma studied them with intense concentration. This one. She held up a soft sage green. It's peaceful. Bedroom should be peaceful. That's exactly what I thought, Lily said, and Emma beamed. Daniel watched them, his daughter and this woman who'd appeared in their lives like some kind of narrative device, and felt something dangerous stir in his chest. Hope, maybe. Or fear. Probably both. Sad. 2 weeks after the lasagna incident, Daniel's car died. Not dramatically, just stopped working. One morning it turned over fine, and the next morning it clicked sadly and gave up on life entirely. Shit, Daniel said, staring at the engine like it had personally betrayed him. That's $2 for the swear jar we don't have, Emma said from the porch. We're going to need to start one at this rate. He called work, explained he'd be late, then called the mechanic who said he could look at it Wednesday, which was 2 days away, and might as well have been next year for all the good it did him right now. Need a ride? Daniel turned. Lily was standing in her driveway, keys in hand, looking like someone who'd just solved a problem that wasn't hers to solve. I'll figure it out, he said. I'm literally offering you a ride. That's the figuring out part. You don't even know where I work. So tell me. Daniel wanted to argue, wanted to explain that he didn't take help, didn't put people out, didn't let himself need things from others. But Emma was going to be late for school, and he was going to be late for work, and pride was expensive when you had responsibilities. Northside Industrial Park, he said. Building 6. See? Easy. Lily looked at Emma. You ready for school, kiddo? Emma nodded enthusiastically, already running toward Lily's car like this was the best thing that had happened all week. The drive should have been awkward. Daniel in the passenger seat of a car that smelled like vanilla and had indie music playing softly, Lily driving like someone who actually enjoyed it, Emma in the back asking approximately 800 questions about whether Lily had ever seen a real dinosaur. I'm 24, not Jurassic, Lily said. But theoretically, if you had a time machine, then yes, I'd go see dinosaurs. Obviously. Emma nodded, satisfied. They dropped her at school first. Emma hugged Daniel, then, without asking, hugged Lily too, quick and fierce and completely sincere. Thanks for the ride, Miss Lily. Anytime, Emma. Then it was just the two of them. Lily pulled back into traffic and Daniel watched the streets pass, trying to think of something to say that wasn't thank you for the third time. Your daughter's great, Lily said. I know. Does she get that from you or her mom? Definitely not me. Lily glanced at him. I don't know about that. You seem pretty great too. Daniel didn't know what to do with that, so he said nothing. They drove in silence for a while. Comfortable silence, which was worse than awkward silence because it suggested they were becoming people who could be quiet together. Can I ask you something? Lily said. You're going to anyway. True. She turned onto the industrial park road. Why do you do that? Do what? Act like every kindness is a burden, like people helping you is somehow an insult. Daniel stared out the window. I don't, you do. Every time, like you're convinced everyone's got an angle. Most people do. That's a sad way to see the world. It's a realistic way. Lily pulled into the parking lot, put the car in park, and turned to face him. Her expression wasn't angry, just curious, like he was a puzzle she wanted to understand. Here's the thing, Daniel. Not everyone's trying to hurt you. Some of us just think you're worth being nice to. She said it simply, matter of fact, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Daniel felt something crack in his chest. I need to go, he said, reaching for the door handle. Daniel, thanks for the ride. He got out before she could say anything else, before he could do something stupid like believe her. But that night, Emma asked if Miss Lily could come to dinner. Why? Daniel asked, though he knew the answer. Because she's nice and I like her and she probably eats alone a lot, and that's sad. You don't know that she eats alone. Do you think she eats with other people? Daniel thought about Lily in her house full of paint swatches and half-dead plants, about the way she'd said she moved here to figure things out. Probably not, he admitted. Then we should invite her. It's the neighborly thing to do. Since when did his 6-year-old understand social obligations better than he did? Fine, Daniel said. You can ask her. Emma's face lit up. Really? Really, but if she says no, we don't push. She won't say no. Emma was right. 20 minutes later, she came back from Lily's house with a grin that suggested she'd just negotiated world peace. She said yes, she's bringing dessert. Of course she was. Daniel spent the next 2 hours making spaghetti and trying not to think about why his hands were shaking. It was just dinner. Just a neighbor coming over. Nothing strange about that. Except it felt strange, felt significant in ways he couldn't name. The doorbell rang at 6. Emma sprinted to answer it before Daniel could stop her, and then Lily was in his house, holding a pie that looked homemade, wearing a yellow dress that made her look like concentrated sunshine. I made apple, she said. Hope that's okay. It's perfect, Emma said, taking Lily's hand and dragging her toward the kitchen. Dad made spaghetti, but he didn't burn anything, so it's basically a miracle. I heard that, Daniel called. You were meant to, Lily laughed, and Daniel watched her let Emma pull her around his home like they'd known each other for years instead of weeks. She complimented the drawings on the fridge, asked about the books on the shelf, moved through his space like she belonged there. It scared him how much he wanted that to be true. Dinner was chaotic in the way meals with Emma always were, interrupted by stories about school, questions about whether penguins had knees, and a brief debate about whether hot dogs counted as sandwiches. They absolutely do, Lily argued. They're in a category of their own, Daniel countered. That's coward talk. Emma watched them go back and forth with delight, like she'd orchestrated this whole thing just to see her dad engage in pointless debates about food taxonomy. After dinner, after pie, which was incredible, and Daniel told her so, after Emma had fallen asleep on the couch mid-movie, Lily helped Daniel clean up. "You don't have to," he said. "I know. I want to." They worked in silence, him washing, her drying, and it felt domestic in a way that made Daniel's chest tight. "Thank you," Lily said quietly, "for tonight. You brought the pie. I should be thanking you. Not for the food, for—" she gestured vaguely. "This, including me. It's nice." Daniel looked at her, really looked at her, and saw something in her expression he recognized. Loneliness, the kind that wearing a smile couldn't quite hide. "You're welcome here," he said. "Any time." Lily's smile wobbled just slightly. "Yeah? Yeah." She set down the dish towel and looked at him, and for a second Daniel thought, but then Emma made a noise from the couch, shifting in her sleep, and the moment broke. "I should go," Lily said. "Yeah." He walked her to the door. She stepped out onto the porch, then turned back. "Daniel?" "Yeah?" "Whatever you're afraid of, I'm not that." She said it gently, like a promise. Then she walked back to her house, and Daniel stood in his doorway watching her go, wondering when exactly his life had gotten complicated again. The thing about walls was that you didn't notice them going up, one brick at a time, one decision at a time, until you looked around one day and realized you'd built yourself a fortress. Daniel had gotten good at fortresses. 3 days after the dinner, he was still thinking about what Lily had said. "Whatever you're afraid of, I'm not that." Like she could read him. Like the careful distance he maintained was transparent as glass. He didn't like being seen. Work was the same as always. Repetitive, physical, the kind of labor that let his mind wander in dangerous directions. He worked in quality control at a manufacturing plant, checking parts that all looked identical, making sure they met specifications that mattered to someone somewhere. It wasn't the career he'd imagined at 22, but 22 felt like a different lifetime anyway. "You coming to Jake's thing Friday?" Marcus asked during lunch break. Daniel bit into his sandwich. "What thing?" "His birthday. He's doing that whole barbecue situation at his place. Told me to tell you to bring Emma. His kids want to see her." "I don't know. It's a yes or no question, not a philosophical debate." "Maybe." Marcus shook his head. "You're exhausting, you know that?" "So I've been told." "Bring your neighbor." Daniel's head snapped up. "What?" "Your neighbor, the lasagna girl. Bring her." Marcus grinned. "Unless you're scared." "I'm not scared." "Then bring her." Daniel wanted to explain that bringing Lily to a social gathering with his friends felt like crossing a line he hadn't given himself permission to cross. That it would signal something he wasn't ready to signal. That people would look at them and make assumptions, and he'd have to either confirm or deny things he hadn't even figured out yet. Instead, he said, "I'll think about it." "That's Daniel for yes, but I'm going to pretend I have agency in this decision," Marcus translated. "Shut up." Bring her," Marcus said again, "or I'll invite her myself. I know where she lives." "That's borderline stalking. It's being friendly. You should try it sometime." Daniel threw a chip at him. That evening, Emma had homework. First grade homework, which mostly consisted of reading 3 pages of a book about a cat who solved mysteries and answering questions like, what color was the cat? And did the cat find the missing toy? "The cat was orange," Emma said, writing carefully. "And yes, he found the toy under the couch." "Good job." "This is too easy. I should have harder homework." "Don't wish for harder homework. That's like wishing for more vegetables." Emma considered this. "I like vegetables." "You're a strange child." "Thank you." Daniel smiled despite himself. Emma had this way of making everything seem simpler than it was. Problems had solutions. Questions had answers. People were generally good unless proven otherwise. He envied that certainty. "Dad?" "Yeah? Can Miss Lily come to my school thing next week?" Daniel looked up from the dishes he was washing. "What school thing?" "The fall festival, remember? We're doing the costume parade and there's going to be games, and Mrs. Patterson said we could bring our families." Daniel did remember vaguely. He'd signed a permission slip and sent in money for a hot dog. I'll be there, he said. I know. But can Miss Lily come too? She's not family. She could be friend family. That counts. Daniel dried his hands on a towel, buying time. Wouldn't you rather it just be us? Emma looked at him like he'd suggested the earth was flat. Why would I want less people who care about me instead of more people who care about me? 6 years old and she was already smarter than him. I'll ask her, Daniel said. Really? Really. But if she's busy, she won't be busy. You don't know that. Yes, I do. She works from home and makes her own schedule, and she told me she likes kids' stuff better than grown-up stuff anyway. When did she tell you that? Yesterday, when I went over to show her my rock collection. Daniel blinked. You showed her your rock collection? She asked to see it. She said the quartz was very impressive. You have quartz? The pink one. Keep up, Dad. Daniel had no idea his daughter had been conducting an entire separate friendship with their neighbor. The thought should have bothered him more than it did. Okay, he said. I'll ask her. Emma went back to her homework, humming something tuneless, and Daniel wondered when exactly he'd lost control of this situation. He texted Lily at 9 after Emma was asleep. Kept it casual. Emma wants to know if you'd come to her school fall festival next Thursday. No pressure. The response came 30 seconds later. I would love to. What time? Daniel stared at his phone. He'd half expected her to make an excuse to give him an easy out. 2 p.m. It's at the elementary school on Oakwood. I'll be there. Should I bring anything? Just yourself. That feels insufficient, but okay. Daniel smiled at his phone like an idiot, then caught himself and put it face down on the counter. This was fine. This was just a neighbor doing a nice thing for a kid. People did nice things. It didn't have to mean anything, except it felt like it meant something. The week moved strangely after that, faster and slower at the same time. Work blurred together. Emma practiced her costume. She was going as a scientist, complete with goggles and a lab coat Daniel had made from an old white shirt, and talked non-stop about what game she wanted to play at the festival. Lily waved at him every morning when he left for work. Sometimes she was on her porch with coffee. Sometimes she was leaving for a run, blonde hair pulled back, wearing clothes that suggested she actually enjoyed physical activity. They didn't talk much, just waves, smiles. The kind of acknowledgement that said, I see you without requiring conversation. Wednesday night, Marcus called. So, you bringing her to Jake's thing or what? Daniel sighed. I haven't asked her. Why not? Because I don't know if it's what? If it's appropriate? If it's too soon? If people will talk? Marcus made a disgusted sound. Man, you're overthinking this into the ground. Just ask her if she wants to come to a barbecue. Worst case, she says no and you move on with your life. What's best case? She says yes and you have a nice time at a party. It's not complicated. But it was complicated. Everything with Lily felt complicated, felt weighted with implications he didn't know how to navigate. I'll think about it, Daniel said. That's the same thing you said last week. I'm consistent. You're stubborn. There's a difference. After he hung up, Daniel stood in his kitchen staring at nothing. The house was quiet. Emma asleep upstairs, the dishwasher running, the refrigerator humming its familiar song. Lonely, he realized. The house felt lonely. He picked up his phone before he could talk himself out of it and walked next door. Lily answered on the second knock, wearing pajama pants and an oversized sweatshirt, hair piled on her head in a messy knot. Daniel? She looked surprised, but not unhappy. Everything okay? Yeah, He stopped, started again. A friend of mine is having a barbecue Friday. Families, kids, the whole thing. Emma's invited, and I thought... He trailed off, realizing how stupid this was. Showing up at her door at 10 at night to invite her to a party. But Lily smiled. You thought I might want to come? Marcus told me to ask you. Marcus did? He's very pushy. I like him already. She leaned against the doorframe. What time Friday? 4. It's casual, burgers and bad decisions. My favorite combination. She paused. You sure you want me there? I don't want to intrude on your friend group. You wouldn't be intruding. Marcus specifically said to bring you. But what do you say? Daniel looked at her. Really looked at her. standing in her doorway at night, no makeup, completely comfortable, asking him the question that mattered. "I'd like you to come," he said quietly. Lily's expression softened. "Then I'll be there." "Okay, okay." They stood there for a moment, and Daniel felt that same pull he'd been trying to ignore for weeks now, the urge to step closer, to see what would happen if he did. Instead, he stepped back. "I should let you get back to whatever you were doing. I was watching a documentary about cults, very educational." "That's concerning. I like to be prepared in case I accidentally join one." Daniel almost laughed. "Good strategy." "I thought so." She straightened. "See you Thursday at the festival?" "Yeah, see you then." He walked back to his house feeling like he'd just done something either very brave or very stupid, possibly both. Thursday arrived with gray skies that threatened rain but never delivered. Daniel left work early, picked up Emma from school, and drove to the festival with his daughter bouncing in the back seat. "Do I look okay?" Emma asked for the third time. "You look great. Do you think Miss Lily will like my costume?" "I think Miss Lily would like you in a garbage bag." "That's weird, Dad." "You know what I mean." The school parking lot was chaos. Families everywhere, kids in costumes ranging from superheroes to what appeared to be a very committed potato. Emma spotted her friends immediately and tried to launch herself out of the car before Daniel had fully stopped. "Seatbelt," he reminded her. "Right, safety first." She unbuckled and was gone before he could say anything else, running toward a group of girls who screamed like they hadn't just seen each other 3 hours ago. Daniel followed at a more reasonable pace, scanning the crowd without meaning to, looking for blonde hair and a smile that felt like sunlight. He found her by the entrance, holding 2 cups of cider and looking slightly lost. "Hey," he said, and she turned, her whole face brightening. "There you are. I got here early and didn't know what to do with myself, so I bought drinks." She handed him one. "I wasn't sure if you liked cider, but I figured even if you don't, you can pretend." "I like cider." "Good." Crisis averted. They walked into the festival together, and Daniel was immediately aware of eyes on them. Parents he vaguely knew from drop-off and pickup, teachers, other families. He could practically hear the questions forming. "Who's that with Daniel Hayes? Is that his girlfriend?" "She looks young." Lily seemed oblivious to it all, watching the kids with genuine delight. "This is adorable," she said. "I forgot how much fun school festivals were." "When's the last time you went to one?" "Probably when I was in elementary school. My mom used to volunteer at the cakewalk. She took it very seriously." "The cakewalk? You'll see. It's intense." Emma found them 10 minutes later, dragging another girl by the hand. "Dad, this is Sophie. Sophie, this is my dad, and this is Miss Lily, who's our neighbor and makes really good lasagna." Sophie, who was missing her 2 front teeth, looked at Lily with intense scrutiny. "Are you his girlfriend?" Daniel choked on his cider. Lily didn't miss a beat. "I'm his friend who happens to be a girl. Does that count?" Sophie considered this. "I guess." "Your costume is great," Lily said, crouching down. "Are you a witch?" "A good witch. There's a difference." "Absolutely there is. Very important distinction." Sophie beamed, and Emma looked at Lily like she'd just performed magic. The next hour passed in a blur of games and activities. Emma won a goldfish at the ring toss, which Daniel was pretty sure was going to die within a week, but tried to be enthusiastic about anyway. They ate mediocre hot dogs and better cookies. Lily played the cakewalk with the seriousness of someone competing in the Olympics and actually won a chocolate cake, which she immediately shared with every kid within a 5-foot radius. "You're good with them," Daniel said, watching her help a little boy who'd dropped his prize. "Kids are easy. They tell you what they think. No hidden agendas." "You say that like adults are different. Aren't they?" Daniel thought about his ex-wife, about promises that turned out to be temporary, about all the ways people could say one thing and mean another. "Yeah," he said. "They are." Lily looked at him, something shifting in her expression. "Not all of them." Before Daniel could respond, Emma ran over with Sophie and 2 other girls, all talking over each other about face painting. "Can I get a butterfly?" Emma asked. "Sure." "Can Miss Lily come?" Daniel looked at Lily, who shrugged. "I've got nothing but time and cake." They stood in line for face painting, Emma chattering about butterflies and their migration patterns, information she'd apparently learned from a documentary Daniel didn't remember her watching, and Lily listening like it was the most interesting thing she'd heard all day. "You're really committing to this whole neighbor thing," Daniel said quietly. Lily glanced at him. "Is that okay?" "It's more than okay. I just don't want you to feel obligated. I don't do things I don't want to do, Daniel. If I'm here, it's because I want to be." "Why?" The question came out before he could stop it. Lily was quiet for a moment, watching Emma argue with Sophie about whether butterflies could be purple. "Because you and Emma make me feel like I'm part of something," she said finally, "and I haven't felt that way in a long time." Daniel's chest went tight. "Lily, your turn," the face painter called, and Emma bounded over, killing whatever Daniel had been about to say, which was probably for the best. He didn't know what he would have said anyway. Later, after the festival ended and they'd loaded a goldfish named Captain Bubbles into the car, along with the exhausted Emma, Lily walked with them to the parking lot. "Thank you for inviting me," she said. "That was really fun." "Thank you for coming. Emma loved having you there." "Just Emma?" Daniel looked at her. The parking lot lights cast strange shadows, but her eyes were steady on his. "Not just Emma," he admitted. Lily smiled. "Good. You still coming to the barbecue tomorrow? Unless you're uninviting me." "I'm not." "Then yes, I'm coming." She stepped back toward her car. "See you tomorrow, Daniel." "See you." He watched her drive away, then got into his own car where Emma was already half asleep in the back seat, clutching the bag with Captain Bubbles. "I like Miss Lily," Emma mumbled. "I know you do." "Do you like her?" Daniel started the car. "Yeah, Em, I do." "Good," Emma said, and then she was asleep, and Daniel drove home thinking about what the hell he was doing. Friday came too fast. Daniel spent most of the day trying not to think about the barbecue, which meant he thought about it constantly. Marcus had texted him the address and added, "Bring the neighbor." And beer. Mostly beer. Emma was excited in the way only 6-year-olds could be excited about something that was still hours away. "What should I wear?" she asked, standing in front of her closet like it held the secrets of the universe. "Clothes, probably ones that can get dirty." "That doesn't narrow it down. The purple shirt and your jeans." Emma nodded seriously. "Good call." At 3:30, Daniel knocked on Lily's door. She answered wearing jeans and a white t-shirt, hair loose around her shoulders, looking unfairly pretty for someone going to eat burgers in someone's backyard. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready. I made brownies. Is that weird? Should I not have made brownies?" "Brownies are perfect." "Good. I stress bake when I'm nervous." "You're nervous?" "I'm meeting your friends." "That's nerve-wracking." Daniel hadn't considered that she might be anxious about this. Lily always seemed so confident, so unbothered. "They're gonna love you," he said. "You don't know that." "Marcus already does, and he hasn't even met you. You're halfway there." Lily laughed, and some of the tension left her shoulders. They drove to Jake's house with Emma providing running commentary on everything they passed. Jake lived in a nicer neighborhood than theirs, the kind with big yards and basketball hoops in every driveway. The backyard was already full of people when they arrived. Kids running around, adults clustered in groups, the smell of charcoal and lighter fluid heavy in the air. Marcus spotted them immediately and headed over with a beer in one hand and a grin on his face. "You actually came. I'm shocked. You literally threatened me." Effective communication. Marcus turned to Lily and stuck out his hand. "I'm Marcus. I've heard absolutely nothing about you because Daniel's emotionally constipated, but I'm glad you're here." Lily shook his hand, smiling. "Lily, and I appreciate the honesty." "I like her," Marcus said to Daniel. "You can keep her. She's not a pet." "Debatable." Marcus gestured toward the house. "Drinks are in the cooler, food's coming off the grill in 20 minutes, and the kids are doing something vaguely dangerous with a water balloon launcher in the back corner. Welcome to chaos." Emma had already found the other kids and disappeared into the fray. Daniel grabbed beers for himself and Lily, and they found a spot on the edge of the yard where they could watch the mayhem. "This is nice," Lily said. "It's loud." "Noise means people are happy." She took a sip of her beer. "You have good friends." "I have Marcus. The rest of these people I know from work or Emma's school." "Still counts." Jake appeared with a plate of burgers. introducing himself and immediately launching into a story about the time Marcus tried to fix his car and nearly set the engine on fire. Lily laughed in all the right places, asked questions, fit into the conversation like she'd been part of this group for years. Daniel watched her, this woman who'd shown up in his life without warning and somehow made everything feel lighter. "She's great," Marcus said quietly, appearing at Daniel's elbow. "I know. You gonna do anything about it?" "Like what?" "Like tell her you're clearly into her." Daniel took a long drink of his beer. "It's complicated." "It's only complicated because you're making it complicated. She's 24. So I'm 32 with a kid. And she's here anyway, voluntarily, making brownies and charming my friends." Marcus looked at him. "At some point you're going to have to accept that maybe she likes you for real and not because she's confused or looking for a project or whatever story you're telling yourself." Daniel didn't have an answer for that. The evening wore on. Emma played until she was grass-stained and exhausted. Lily helped clean up without being asked, chatted with the other adults, and generally acted like she belonged here. On the drive home, Emma fell asleep immediately, worn out from running around. "Your friends are nice," Lily said softly. "They liked you." "How do you know?" "Because Marcus told me so, repeatedly, in graphic detail." Lily smiled. "He's a good friend." "The best." They drove in comfortable silence for a while, the kind of quiet that didn't need filling. "Daniel?" Lily said as they pulled onto their street. "Yeah?" "I had a really good time tonight, both nights. The festival and this." "Me too." "I mean it. I haven't felt this included in a long time." Daniel pulled into his driveway and turned off the car, looked at her in the dimness of the cab. "You're always included, Lily. You don't have to earn that." Her eyes were bright, and for a second he thought she might cry, but instead she smiled. "Thank you," she said quietly. They got out of the car. Daniel carried Emma inside while Lily grabbed the leftover brownies and the goldfish bowl. She helped him get Emma upstairs and into bed without waking her, moving through his house like she'd done it 100 times. At the door she hesitated. "I should go." "Yeah." Neither of them moved. "Daniel?" "Yeah?" "Whatever this is," she gestured between them. "I'm not scared of it, just so you know." Daniel's heart did something complicated in his chest. "I am," he admitted. "I know." She reached out and squeezed his hand once, brief, warm. "But you're still here anyway." Then she was gone, walking back to her house, and Daniel stood in his doorway feeling like something fundamental had shifted. Like maybe being scared wasn't a good enough reason to stop anymore. The week after the barbecue felt different. Not in ways Daniel could point to exactly. The same routines, the same morning rush to get Emma to school, the same hours at the plant checking parts that all blurred together. But underneath it all, something had changed. Lily had changed it. Or maybe he had. Maybe admitting he was scared but showing up anyway had cracked something open that he'd kept locked for too long. Tuesday morning, his car started on the first try. The mechanic had fixed whatever mysterious thing had been wrong with it, charged him more than Daniel wanted to pay but less than he'd feared, and now he was mobile again. Independent. He should have felt relieved. Instead, he missed those morning drives with Lily, the way she'd filled the silence with stories about her sisters or asked Emma questions that made his daughter light up. The easy way she'd fit into their mornings like she'd always been there. "Dad, you're burning the toast again," Emma said. Daniel yanked the lever up, perfectly golden, not burned at all. "No, I'm not." "You were staring at it weird. That's how it starts." "I don't stare at toast weird. You do when you're thinking about something else." Daniel looked at his daughter, who was watching him with the kind of knowing expression that 6-year-olds shouldn't have but somehow did anyway. "What am I thinking about?" he asked. "Miss Lily, probably." Daniel's hand froze halfway to the butter. "What makes you say that?" "Because you always get that face when she's around. Like you're trying to solve a math problem, but you're bad at math." "I'm not bad at math." "You are a little bit. Remember when you tried to help me with my homework and we got the wrong answer?" "That was 1 time. 3 times. Daniel gave up and handed her the toast. "Eat your breakfast." Emma grinned like she'd won something, which she had. At work, Marcus was waiting by the break room with coffee and a smug expression. "So," Marcus said. "So what? So when are you going to ask her out properly?" Daniel poured himself coffee from the pot that tasted like burnt rubber and regret. "Who?" "Don't play dumb. Lily, your neighbor, the woman you've been making eyes at for weeks." "I don't make eyes." "You absolutely make eyes. It's painful to watch." Marcus leaned against the counter. "Jake's wife asked me about her. Wanted to know if you two were together." "What did you tell her?" "That you're emotionally repressed and terrified of happiness, so probably not yet." "Thanks." "What'd she say?" "She said to tell you that everyone could see it except you, and that you should probably do something about it before someone else does." Daniel frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means Lily's attractive, single, and nice." "You think you're the only one who's noticed?" Something cold settled in Daniel's stomach. He hadn't thought about that. Hadn't considered that while he was busy being scared and careful, someone else might not be. "There's no one else," he said, but it sounded defensive even to his own ears. "Not yet. But you're not exactly moving fast here." Marcus clapped him on the shoulder. "Look, I'm not trying to stress you out. I'm trying to tell you what everyone else already knows. You like her, she likes you, and the only thing standing in your way is you." "It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because—" Daniel stopped. Because why? Because of the age difference? Because he had a kid? Because he was scared? None of those felt like good enough reasons when he said them out loud in his head. "Just think about it," Marcus said. "That's all I'm asking." The conversation stuck with Daniel all day, circling in his mind like water down a drain. By the time he picked up Emma from school, he'd almost convinced himself that Marcus was wrong, that he was reading too much into friendly gestures and neighborly kindness. Then he got home and saw Lily on her porch, and his heart did that stupid thing where it sped up for no reason. She waved. He waved back. Emma was already unbuckling her seatbelt. "Can I go show Miss Lily my spelling test? I got 100%. "You just saw her Friday." "That was 4 days ago. That's basically forever." Daniel couldn't argue with 6-year-old logic. "Fine, but don't stay too long." Emma was gone before he finished the sentence, running across the yard with her backpack bouncing. Daniel watched Lily crouch down to Emma's level, examining the spelling test with exaggerated seriousness, pointing at words and nodding like they were discussing something of international importance. His phone buzzed. Text from a number he didn't recognize. "Hey Daniel, it's Christine from Emma's school. Parent committee is organizing a fall fundraiser and we're looking for volunteers. Let me know if you're interested." He deleted it without responding. He'd done the volunteer thing last year and spent 3 hours selling raffle tickets while listening to other parents talk about their perfectly organized lives. Once was enough. Another text came through, this time from Marcus. "Stop overthinking. Just ask her to dinner." Daniel typed back, "You're annoying. I'm helpful. There's a difference. Debatable. Do it or I will." Daniel put his phone away and looked back at Lily's porch. Emma was still there, now sitting on the steps while Lily braided her hair. Something simple and domestic and entirely too comfortable. He walked over before he could talk himself out of it. "Dad," Emma said, "Miss Lily's teaching me how to do a fishtail braid." "Attempting to teach," Lily corrected. "Your hair's slippery." "That's because I use good conditioner." "Well, it's very nice conditioner." Lily looked up at Daniel, hands still working through Emma's hair. Hey, your daughter's a genius. Did you know she got 100% on her spelling test?" "I did know that, yes." "I'm very smart," Emma added helpfully. "And humble," Daniel said. Lily finished the braid and tied it off with an elastic from her wrist. "There, you're all set." Emma jumped up to examine it in the reflection of Lily's window. "It's perfect. Can you teach my dad how to do this?" "I don't think my fingers work that way," Daniel said. "You just need practice." "Or I could just bring you over here every time you want a fancy braid." Emma considered this. "That works too." Lily laughed, and Daniel felt that pull again, the one that said this woman was dangerous in all the ways that mattered. "Emma, why don't you go put your backpack inside?" he said. "I'll be there in a minute." "Are you going to talk about grown-up stuff?" "Probably." "Boring." But Emma skipped off anyway, touching her new braid like it was made of gold. Lily stood, brushing off her jeans. She's great. I know. You're doing a really good job with her. Daniel shoved his hands in his pockets. I'm trying. They stood there in that space between their houses, not quite hers and not quite his, and Daniel knew this was the moment. The one where he either said something or didn't, where he made a choice that would shift everything. Lily, do you want to have dinner? She said at the same time. They both stopped. Sorry, Lily said. You go first. No, you... What did you say? I asked if you wanted to have dinner with me, like an actual dinner, not just me showing up at your house or you at mine. Somewhere else. She was talking fast, the way people did when they were nervous. We could go to that Italian place downtown, or there's a barbecue spot Marcus told me about, or literally anywhere else. I'm not picky. I just thought, yes, Daniel said. Lily stopped. Yes? Yes. I'd like to have dinner with you. Her whole face lit up. Really? Really. I was actually about to ask you the same thing. You were? Yeah, Marcus has been on my case about it for days. He texted me too, told me I should stop waiting for you to make a move. Daniel laughed despite himself. He's pushy. He cares about you. Unfortunately, Lily smiled. So, dinner. When? Friday? Friday's perfect. She paused. Should we tell Emma, or is this a secret thing? Daniel thought about his daughter, who already treated Lily like family. We should tell her. I don't do secrets. Good, neither do I. They stood there grinning at each other like idiots, and Daniel felt something in his chest that he hadn't felt in years. Hope, maybe. Or possibility. Probably both. That night at dinner, Daniel told Emma about Friday. I'm going to have dinner with Miss Lily, he said, trying to sound casual. Emma looked up from her chicken nuggets. Like a date? Daniel hesitated. Sort of. What does sort of mean? It means yes, like a date. Emma's face split into the biggest grin Daniel had seen in months. Really? Really? Are you going to get married? Em, we're just having dinner. But maybe later you'll get married. Let's not plan the wedding yet. I'm just saying, I think it would be good. Miss Lily's nice, and she makes good lasagna, and she doesn't burn toast. I don't burn toast that often. Emma gave him a look that said she was keeping a mental tally, and the numbers weren't in his favor. Where are you going to go? She asked. I don't know yet. Probably that Italian place. The one with the breadsticks? Yeah. Those are good breadsticks. Emma swirled a nugget in ketchup. Who's going to watch me? I'll ask Marcus, or maybe his sister. Can I stay at Sophie's house? I'll ask her mom. Emma nodded, satisfied. Then she said very seriously, Dad? Yeah? I'm really happy you're going on a date with Miss Lily. Daniel's throat went tight. Yeah? Why's that? Because you've been sad for a long time, and Miss Lily makes you not sad. Out of the mouths of children, direct hits every single time. I haven't been sad, Daniel said, but it sounded hollow. Yes, you have. Not all the time, but sometimes, like when you think I'm not looking. Emma set down her nugget. But when Miss Lily's around, you smile more. Real smiles, not the fake ones you do when other people's parents ask you questions. Daniel had no idea his 6-year-old was this perceptive, had no idea she'd been cataloging his moods, watching him the way he watched her. Come here, he said. Emma climbed into his lap, small and warm and absolutely everything. You're right, Daniel said quietly. I have been sad sometimes, but you make me happy every single day. You know that, right? I know. And Miss Lily makes me happy too. I know that too. That's why I like her. Daniel hugged his daughter, breathing in the smell of her strawberry shampoo and kid sweat, and thought about how lucky he was, how despite everything that had gone wrong, he'd gotten this absolutely perfect human who saw him clearly and loved him anyway. Okay, Emma said after a minute. You're squishing me. Sorry. She climbed down and went back to her nuggets. Can I help you pick what to wear? You're 6. I have good fashion sense. You wore 2 different shoes to school last week. That was a statement. Daniel gave up. Fine. You can help. Emma pumped her fist in victory. The next few days passed in a strange suspension. Daniel went to work, came home, did the normal routines, but underneath it all was this constant awareness of Friday, of dinner, of the fact that he was going on an actual date for the first time in years. He was terrified. Wednesday night, Lily texted him. Still on for Friday? Yeah, unless you changed your mind, not even a little bit, just making sure you didn't. I didn't. Good. What time? 7? I'll pick you up. You don't have to do that. We can meet there. Lily. Yeah? Let me pick you up, please. There was a pause, then, okay, 7 works. Thursday, Emma helped Daniel go through his closet with the seriousness of a military general planning an invasion. Not that one, she said, pointing at a shirt Daniel had owned since college. It has a hole. Small hole. Still a hole. She made him try on 4 different combinations before settling on dark jeans and a blue button-down that she claimed made his eyes look nice, which was both sweet and slightly concerning coming from a first grader. How do you know about making eyes look nice? Daniel asked. I watch you get ready every day. I observe things. That's terrifying. That's being smart. Emma tilted her head. Do you have nice shoes? I have shoes. Nice shoes? Daniel looked at his sneakers, his work boots, and 1 pair of dress shoes he'd worn to exactly 2 funerals. The black ones, he tried. Emma sighed. Those'll have to do. Friday arrived like a storm Daniel could see coming but couldn't stop. He left work early, picked up Emma, and immediately started second-guessing every decision he'd made in the last 72 hours. You're nervous, Emma observed from the back seat. I'm not nervous. You're doing the thing with your hand. Daniel looked down. He was drumming his fingers on the steering wheel. That doesn't mean I'm nervous. It always means you're nervous. He forced his hand to stop. I'm fine. It's okay to be nervous. Miss Lily's probably nervous too. What makes you say that? Because she texted me yesterday. Daniel nearly swerved into the next lane. She what? She texted me. Well, she texted you, but you were in the shower, so I answered. Emma. She wanted to know what your favorite color was. I told her blue. Was I right? Daniel didn't even know what his favorite color was anymore. Sure. Yeah. Blue's fine. She also asked what kind of food you liked. I said everything except olives because you make a face when you eat olives. I do not make a face. You absolutely make a face. Daniel pulled into their driveway and turned to look at his daughter. What else did you tell her? That you're a good dad and you deserve to be happy, and she should definitely kiss you goodnight. Emma. What? She should. That's what happens on dates. You're 6. How do you know what happens on dates? Sophie's mom watches romance movies when we have sleepovers. I observe. Daniel put his head on the steering wheel. I'm doomed. Emma patted his shoulder. You're going to be fine, Dad. Miss Lily already likes you. This is just making it official. Marcus's sister picked up Emma at 6:30. Her name was Rachel, and she had 3 kids of her own, so adding 1 more to the chaos was apparently no big deal. Have fun, Rachel said, giving Daniel a knowing smile. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That's not a high bar. Exactly. She winked and herded Emma toward her minivan, where screaming could already be heard from inside. Emma turned at the last second. Remember what I said about the kiss? Go, Daniel said, mortified. She went, giggling. At 6:50, Daniel stood in front of his bathroom mirror trying to decide if he looked like someone who should be going on a date or someone who was trying too hard. The shirt Emma picked looked fine. His hair was doing that thing where it wouldn't cooperate. His hands were sweating. This was ridiculous. He was 32 years old. He'd been married. He'd raised a kid alone. A dinner date shouldn't make him this nervous. But it did. At 6:58, he walked next door and knocked. Lily answered wearing a green dress that made her eyes look impossibly bright and her hair down in waves that probably took effort but looked effortless. Hi, she said. Hi. Daniel's brain had apparently forgotten how to form complete sentences. You look really nice. Thanks. So do you. She grabbed a small purse from the table by the door. Emma was right about the blue. She told you about that? She told me several things, all of them helpful. That's what I was afraid of. Lily laughed, and just like that, some of Daniel's nervousness faded. This was Lily. The woman who brought him lasagna and braided his daughter's hair and didn't make him feel like he had to be anything other than himself. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready?" The restaurant was downtown, a family-owned Italian place that had been there forever and smelled like garlic and red wine and promises. They got a table by the window, and for the first few minutes they both studied their menus like they contained secrets to the universe. "I'm getting the carbonara," Lily said finally. "Good choice. What about you?" "Probably the chicken marsala." "Solid." The waiter came, took their orders, left them with wine and breadsticks in a silence that was rapidly becoming less comfortable. Daniel cleared his throat. So, Lily echoed. They both started talking at once. "You first," Daniel said. "I was just going to say that this is nice, being here, with you." "Yeah, it is." Another pause. "I'm not good at this," Daniel admitted. "At what?" "Dating, talking, any of it. I'm out of practice." Lily reached across the table and put her hand over his. "Then let's not call it dating. Let's just call it dinner with someone you like." "I can do that." "Good." She squeezed his hand once, then pulled back. "So tell me something I don't know about you." "Like what?" "Anything. Favorite movie, weird hobby, secret talent." Daniel thought about it. "I can juggle." Lily's eyes widened. "Really?" 3 balls, nothing fancy. Learned it in college when I was bored." "That's actually impressive." "It's useless. All the best talents are." She took a sip of wine. "I can say the alphabet backwards." "Why?" "Same reason you learned to juggle, boredom." Daniel smiled. "Do it." "Right now?" "Right now." Lily took a breath and rattled off the alphabet in reverse without hesitation, ending with a little flourish. "Okay, that's actually more impressive than juggling," Daniel said. "Thank you. I've been waiting years for someone to appreciate it." Their food came, and conversation got easier. They talked about everything and nothing. Her sisters, his job, the weird neighbor 3 houses down who definitely had too many garden gnomes. Lily told him about her first apartment, which had mice and a landlord who insisted the mice were featured amenities. Daniel told her about the time Emma convinced him that clouds were made of marshmallows, and he'd believed her for longer than he wanted to admit. "She's smart," Lily said. "Too smart. It's going to be a problem when she's a teenager." "You'll handle it." "How do you know?" "Because you handle everything else." Lily set down her fork. "You're a good dad, Daniel." "Better than you give yourself credit for." "I'm trying. That's all anyone can do." Daniel looked at her across the table. This woman who saw him, really saw him, and didn't run. Who fit into his life like she'd been carved out specifically for that space. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Anything." "Why me?" Lily frowned. "What do you mean?" "I mean, you could be doing anything, dating anyone. Why are you here with me?" "Because I want to be." "But why?" Lily was quiet for a moment, turning her wine glass in slow circles. "You want the real answer?" "Yeah." "Because you're real. Because you don't pretend to be something you're not. Because you make me feel like I matter, not because of what I can do for you, but just because I exist." She met his eyes. "And because when I'm with you and Emma, I feel like I'm home, and I haven't felt that way in a really long time." Daniel's chest went tight. "Lily, you asked," she said softly. "That's the truth." He didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know how to explain that she'd just put into words the exact thing he'd been feeling but hadn't been brave enough to name. So instead he reached across the table and took her hand. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For being here. For being you. For not giving up on me even when I was being an idiot." Lily smiled. "You're welcome." They left the restaurant an hour later, full of good food and wine and something that felt dangerously close to happiness. Daniel drove them back through streets that were mostly empty, Lily humming along to the radio, and for the first time in years he let himself believe that maybe this could work. Maybe they could work. He walked her to her door because that's what you did on dates, even though her door was 30 feet from his. "I had a really good time," Lily said. "Me too. We should do this again." "Yeah, we should." They stood there on her porch, and Daniel thought about what Emma had said, about kisses and what happened on dates and how his daughter had more courage in her pinky finger than he had in his whole body. Lily? Yeah? Can I kiss you? Her smile was answer enough, but she said, I thought you'd never ask. He stepped closer, cupped her face in his hands, and kissed her. Soft at first, tentative, like he was afraid she might disappear. But she kissed him back, her hands finding his chest, and suddenly soft became something else, something that tasted like wine and felt like coming home. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Lily was smiling. Emma was right, she said. About what? You should definitely kiss me goodnight. Daniel laughed and kissed her again and thought that maybe his daughter knew exactly what she was talking about. The thing about happiness was that it made you stupid, made you forget that good things could still go wrong, that walls existed for reasons, that opening yourself up meant giving someone the power to hurt you. Daniel remembered this at 3 a.m, 2 weeks after their first date, lying awake while Emma slept down the hall and Lily was in her own house 30 feet away. He'd been doing that a lot lately, lying awake, thinking too much, waiting for the other shoe to drop, because there was always another shoe. They'd fallen into a rhythm since that night, easy, comfortable, the kind of thing that should have made him relax, but instead made him tense. Lily came over for dinner twice a week. Sometimes they went out, just the two of them, leaving Emma with Marcus or Rachel. Sometimes all three of them did things together. The park, the movies, a pumpkin patch where Emma had insisted on getting the biggest pumpkin they could carry, and Lily had gamely helped Daniel haul it to the car. It felt like a family. That was the problem. Daniel got up, careful not to wake Emma, and went downstairs. Made coffee he didn't need at an hour that didn't make sense. Stood at the kitchen window looking at Lily's house, at the single light burning in what he knew was her bedroom. His phone buzzed on the counter. Can't sleep either, Lily's text said. How did you know I was awake? Saw your kitchen light. Also, it's 3 a.m. and I know how your brain works. That's concerning. Come over. I made cookies earlier. It's 3 a.m. Cookies don't have a curfew. Daniel looked at his phone, then at the stairs where Emma slept, then back at Lily's house. He shouldn't. It was the middle of the night. Emma was asleep. This was irresponsible. He grabbed his keys and went anyway. Lily answered the door in pajama pants and an oversized sweatshirt, hair piled on her head, looking soft and sleepy and unfairly pretty. Hey, she said. Hey. She stepped aside and he walked into her house that still smelled like paint and vanilla, but now also smelled like chocolate chip cookies. I stress bake, Lily said, gesturing at a plate stacked high with cookies on her counter. Insomnia is great for productivity. What are you stressed about? Same thing you're stressed about, probably. Daniel leaned against her counter. And what's that? This, she waved between them. Us. Whatever we're doing. You're stressed about us? Aren't you? Daniel didn't answer, which was answer enough. Lily handed him a cookie. Eat. We'll figure it out. They sat on her couch, the same one that had been covered in drop cloths weeks ago but was now settled and normal and lived in. Ate cookies in silence for a minute while some late-night show played on mute on her TV. I like you, Lily said finally. Like, a lot. More than I probably should given that we've known each other less than 2 months. But? No but. That's the whole sentence. She looked at him. I like you, and it scares me because I haven't let myself care about someone like this in a really long time. Daniel set down his cookie. Why not? Because the last person I cared about told me I was too much, too intense, too invested, too everything. Said I needed to learn how to be less. Lily's voice was flat, matter-of-fact, like she was reciting something she'd heard so many times she'd memorized it. So I left, moved here, decided to figure out who I was when I wasn't trying to fit into someone else's idea of what I should be. You're not too much, Daniel said. You don't know that. Yeah, I do. He shifted closer. You're exactly the right amount. Anyone who told you different was an idiot. Lily's eyes went bright, and she looked away quickly, blinking hard. I'm scared too, Daniel admitted. Terrified, actually, because Emma loves you and I... He stopped, the words catching in his throat. You what? I'm falling for you. Maybe already fell, and that's huge. That's everything. Because it's not just me anymore. If this goes wrong, it's not just my heart that breaks. It's hers too. So don't let it go wrong. It's not that simple. Why not? Because people leave, Lily. They get tired. They change their minds. They realize what they signed up for is harder than they thought. Like Emma's mom. Daniel's jaw tightened. Yeah, like Emma's mom. Lily was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was gentle but firm. I'm not her. I know. Do you? Because it feels like you're waiting for me to prove I'm going to bail. Like you're keeping score, waiting for the moment I decide this is too hard. That's not... But it was. She was right, and they both knew it. Daniel. Lily turned to face him fully. I moved here to figure out who I was, and what I figured out is that I'm someone who wants this. Who wants you and Emma and Sunday morning pancakes and terrible school festivals and all of it. I'm not going anywhere. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. I'm doing it right now. People break promises. Some people do. I don't. Her eyes were fierce. I know you're scared. I know you've been hurt. But you can't live your whole life behind walls because of what might happen. At some point, you have to take a risk. I have a kid to think about. I know. And that kid is one of the best people I've ever met, and I would never do anything to hurt her. Or you. Lily reached out and took his hand. But you have to let me in, Daniel. Actually let me in. Not just physically, but emotionally. You have to trust me. Daniel looked at their joined hands, at this woman who'd somehow become essential to his life in the span of weeks. He thought about Emma, about the way she lit up when Lily was around, about the way Lily had integrated herself into their lives, not by forcing it, but by showing up consistently, honestly, without asking for anything in return. I'm trying, he said quietly. I know you are. But trying isn't enough. At some point, you have to actually do it. She was right. He knew she was right, but knowing and doing were two different things. What if I mess this up, he asked. Then we'll figure it out. Together. Lily squeezed his hand. That's what people do when they care about each other. They mess up and they fix it and they keep going. Daniel pulled her closer, wrapped his arms around her and let himself breathe. She smelled like cookie dough and vanilla and something uniquely her. Okay, he said into her hair. Okay? Okay, I'll try. Actually try. To let you in. Lily pulled back enough to see his face. Yeah? Yeah. She smiled and kissed him, and it tasted like chocolate chips and promises he desperately wanted to believe in. He went home at 4 when the sky was starting to lighten, but wasn't quite dawn yet. Climbed into bed and actually slept for the first time in days. When Emma woke him up at 7, bouncing on his bed like it was a trampoline, he didn't even mind. Dad, it's Saturday. I'm aware. Can we make pancakes? Sure. Can Miss Lily come? Daniel looked at his daughter, who was grinning like she already knew the answer. Yeah, he said. She can come. Emma shrieked and ran downstairs to presumably call or text Lily herself, because she'd somehow gotten Lily's number and Daniel had given up trying to monitor their communications. 30 minutes later, Lily was in his kitchen wearing the same pajamas from earlier, helping Emma crack eggs into a bowl while Daniel mixed batter and tried not to think about how domestic this all was. You're doing it wrong, Emma told Lily. I've cracked eggs before. But you're getting shell in it. That's protein. Emma giggled, and Daniel watched them together. His daughter and this woman who'd appeared in their lives like something out of a story he didn't know he was writing. Dad's staring again, Emma stage whispered to Lily. I noticed. He does that when he's happy. Does he? Yep. Also when he's thinking about something hard, but this is the happy staring. Daniel pointed his spatula at them. I can hear you. We know, they said in unison. Breakfast was chaotic and perfect. Emma ate her pancakes with an alarming amount of syrup. Lily told a story about the time she tried to make crepes and ended up with what she called tragic French scrambled eggs. Daniel burned the first batch because he was too busy watching them laugh together. Afterward, they cleaned up as a team, Emma on dish duty, Lily on drying, Daniel on putting away. It felt practiced even though it wasn't, felt right in ways that should have scared him, but instead just felt like relief. What are we doing today? Emma asked, hanging up her dish towel with exaggerated care. What do you want to do? Daniel countered. Can we go to the aquarium? The aquarium's 2 hours away. That's not that far. It's a whole thing. Emma turned to Lily. Do you want to go to the aquarium? I love aquariums. See, Dad? Democracy. Daniel looked at Lily, who shrugged innocently. I do actually love aquariums. You're both ganging up on me. Is it working? Emma asked. Unfortunately, yes. Go get dressed. We're leaving in 20 minutes. Emma whooped and ran upstairs. Lily stepped closer to Daniel, sliding her arms around his waist. Thank you. For what? For last night, for this morning, for letting me be here. You're always welcome here. I know, but it means something that you mean it. She kissed him quickly, then pulled back. I should go change. Can't wear pajamas to the aquarium. Why not? Because I'm an adult with standards. Overrated. She laughed and headed for the door, then paused. Daniel? Yeah? I meant what I said. I'm not going anywhere. I know. And maybe he was starting to actually believe it. The aquarium was packed with families and screaming children and overpriced gift shops, but Emma was in heaven. She pressed her face against every glass tank, asked questions about every species, and insisted on reading every single information placard out loud. Did you know that octopuses have 3 hearts? She asked for the 3rd time. I did know that, yes, Daniel said. And they can change colors? Also knew that. You're very smart, Dad. Or you've told me these facts multiple times. Emma considered this. Both can be true. Lily walked beside them, taking pictures on her phone, pointing out fish that Emma had missed, genuinely engaged in a way that most adults pretended to be around kids but weren't really. That one looks like Uncle Marcus, Emma said, pointing at a grumpy-looking grouper. You're not wrong, Lily said. I'm telling him you said that, Daniel said. Please do. He'll love it. They spent 4 hours there, which was 3 hours longer than Daniel usually lasted in places like this. But watching Emma's excitement, seeing Lily crouch down to read placard after placard in silly voices, feeling like they were a unit instead of just him and his daughter, plus one, it was worth the crowds and the noise and the overpriced fish-shaped crackers Emma insisted she needed. On the drive home, Emma fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted and happy. She had a good day, Lily said softly. Yeah, she did. So did I. Daniel glanced at her. Yeah? Yeah. Lily looked out the window at the passing landscape. This is the most normal I've felt in a really long time. Normal's good? Normal's great. She reached over and squeezed his hand. Thank you for including me. Thank you for wanting to be included. They drove in comfortable silence for a while, the kind that didn't need filling. Daniel thought about what she'd said last night, about letting her in, about trust. My ex-wife's name was Sarah, he said suddenly. Lily turned to look at him. We met in college. Got married too young because we thought that's what you did when you loved someone. Had Emma because Sarah wanted a baby, and I wanted Sarah to be happy. Daniel kept his eyes on the road. But she wasn't happy. Not with me, not with motherhood, not with any of it. She tried for 2 years, and then one day she just left. Said she couldn't do it anymore, couldn't be a wife or a mother or any of the things she'd signed up for. Daniel, I'm not telling you this because I want sympathy. I'm telling you because you deserve to know why I'm the way I am. Why I'm so careful. Why I keep waiting for you to wake up and realize this isn't what you want. Lily was quiet for a moment. Where is she now? California, last I heard. She sends cards on Emma's birthday. Calls maybe twice a year. Emma doesn't really remember her, which is probably for the best. That must have been hard, doing it alone. It was terrifying. Still is sometimes. Daniel flexed his hands on the steering wheel. But Emma's the best thing I ever did. The only thing I'm absolutely sure I got right. You got her very right. The rest of it, though, relationships, trust, letting people close, I'm bad at that. Really bad. And I'm trying to get better, but I don't know if I know how. Lily reached over and put her hand on his knee. You're doing fine. I yelled at the dishwasher this morning because it wouldn't start. That's just being human. I forgot to sign Emma's permission slip for the field trip next week. We'll sign it Monday. I burned pancakes. We ate them anyway. She squeezed his knee. You're not going to be perfect, Daniel. Nobody is. But you show up every day, and you try, and you love that little girl with everything you have. That's what matters. Daniel felt something loosen in his chest. What about you? What about me? Do I love you with everything I have? The words hung in the air between them. He hadn't meant to say it like that, hadn't planned it, but there it was. Lily's breath caught. Daniel, you don't have to say anything. I needed you to know that this isn't casual for me, that you matter, that I'm all in, even though it scares the hell out of me. I'm all in too, Lily said quietly. I have been since you opened the door that first day looking like you wanted to slam it in my face. I did want to slam it in your face. I know, but you didn't. She smiled. You took my lasagna instead. It was really good lasagna. It was okay lasagna. You were just lonely. That too. They pulled into their street as the sun was starting to set, painting everything orange and gold. Emma stirred in the back seat, but didn't wake. I should get her inside, Daniel said. Yeah. Lily unbuckled her seatbelt but didn't get out. Daniel? Yeah? I love you too, just so we're clear. Daniel's heart did something complicated and wonderful in his chest. Yeah? Yeah? She leaned over and kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. Now go put your daughter to bed. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, he agreed. He carried Emma inside, got her into pajamas without fully waking her, and tucked her into bed. She mumbled something about octopuses and then was out again. Daniel stood in her doorway for a long moment, watching her sleep, thinking about everything that had led to this moment. The mistakes and the heartbreak and the long, lonely years of just getting through. And then Lily, appearing like some kind of miracle he hadn't known he needed. His phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Jake says you're bringing Lily to Thanksgiving. Daniel frowned. He hadn't said that. Hadn't even thought about Thanksgiving, which was, he checked the calendar on his phone, 2 weeks away. Jake's delusional, he texted back. So you're not bringing her? I haven't asked her. Ask her. His wife's already planning for an extra person. That's presumptuous. That's accurate. Ask her. Daniel put his phone down, then picked it up again. Texted Lily. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Probably ordering Chinese food and watching bad movies. Why? Want to come to my friend Jake's instead? It's a whole thing. Lots of people, lots of food, lots of questions about our relationship status. Sounds perfect. What time? 2. Fair warning. His wife cooks enough to feed a small army, and people will definitely ask if we're serious. What should I tell them? Daniel thought about that, about what they were becoming. Tell them yes, he typed. We're serious. Good, Lily sent back. Because I am. The 2 weeks before Thanksgiving passed in a blur of normal life punctuated by moments that felt significant. Daniel and Lily fell into a routine that felt less like falling and more like settling. The good kind. The kind that meant comfort instead of complacency. She came over most evenings. Sometimes she cooked, sometimes he did. Sometimes they gave up and ordered pizza, while Emma complained that pizza wasn't a vegetable, no matter how many times they put peppers on it. They watched movies, played board games that Emma inevitably won, talked about nothing and everything. Daniel stopped waiting for the other shoe to drop. Or at least, he tried to. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, Emma's teacher called. Mr. Hayes, I wanted to talk to you about Emma's family tree project. Daniel's stomach dropped. The family tree project. He'd completely forgotten about it. What about it? He asked, already knowing this wasn't going to be good. Well, Emma included Miss Lily on her tree, under family, and I wanted to check with you about that before we display them in the classroom. Daniel closed his eyes. What exactly did she write? She has you as Dad, and then she has Miss Lily, Dad's girlfriend, and my friend listed right next to you. I see. Is that accurate? I don't want to display something that makes you uncomfortable. It's accurate, Daniel said. Lily's my girlfriend, and Emma's friend. Oh, okay then. I just wanted to make sure. Some parents are particular about how we represent their families. It's fine. Emma can include whoever she wants. After he hung up, Daniel sat at his desk at work staring at nothing. Emma had put Lily on her family tree, had claimed her as family without asking, without hesitation, and Daniel had just confirmed it to her teacher. You look like you've seen a ghost, Marcus said, appearing with coffee. Emma put Lily on her family tree project. Marcus grinned. That's great. Is it? Why wouldn't it be? Because we've been together 2 months. That's fast. For who? You or Emma? Both. Either. I don't know. Marcus sat on the edge of Daniel's desk. Does Emma like Lily? You know she does. Does Lily like Emma? Obviously. Do you love Lily? Yes. Does she love you? She says she does. Then what's the problem? Daniel couldn't articulate it. The fear that was always there lurking underneath. The certainty that good things didn't last, that people left, that opening yourself up meant giving someone the power to destroy you. I'm scared, he admitted. Of what? Of this being real, of it mattering, of... He stopped, started again. Of Emma getting attached and then it not working out. Emma's already attached, man. So are you. The question is what you're going to do about it. What am I supposed to do? Be happy. Let yourself have this. Stop waiting for it to fall apart and just live. Marcus made it sound so simple. That night, Daniel told Lily about the family tree. They were doing dishes after dinner, Emma in the living room watching her allotted hour of TV before bed. Emma put you on her family tree project at school, he said, scrubbing a plate harder than necessary. Lily paused in her drying. She did? Yeah. Listed you as my girlfriend and her friend. Are you okay with that? Her teacher called to check. I said yes. Lily set down the dish towel. Daniel, if you're not comfortable with that, I am comfortable with it. He stopped, frustrated with himself. I'm scared. Of what? Of you being on that family tree and then not being there. Of Emma expecting you to stay and you... Leaving? Lily finished. Daniel, how many times do I have to tell you I'm not going anywhere? Until I believe it, I guess. Then I'll keep saying it. She stepped closer. I'm not going anywhere. Not tomorrow, not next month, not next year. I'm here. I want to be here. I want to be on Emma's family tree and at your Thanksgiving and in your life. All of it. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? Daniel looked at her, this woman who'd become essential without him noticing, and realized Marcus was right. He was so busy being scared of what might happen that he was missing what was already happening. Okay, he said. Okay? Okay, I believe you. I'm going to try to believe you. Lily smiled and pulled him into a hug. That's all I'm asking. From the living room, Emma called out, Are you guys being mushy again? How do you even know what mushy is? Daniel called back. I have eyes, Dad. Lily laughed against his chest, and Daniel thought that maybe, possibly, he could do this. Could let himself have this. Could stop waiting for disaster and just live. Thanksgiving arrived cold and clear, the kind of day that promised nothing but delivered anyway. Daniel spent the morning helping Emma make a pie that was more enthusiasm than skill, while Lily showed up with wine and homemade rolls that put his grocery store contribution to shame. You didn't have to go all out, Daniel said. I wanted to make a good impression. They already like you. They liked me at a barbecue. Thanksgiving's serious. This is where they decide if I'm good enough for you. That's not... But it kind of was, and they both knew it. The drive to Jake's house was familiar now. Emma chattered about the pie, about school, about Captain Bubbles who had defied all odds and was still alive after 6 weeks. Lily listened and responded and made Daniel's daughter laugh, and he thought about family trees and what it meant to build something new. Jake's house was already full when they arrived. Music playing, kids running around, the smell of turkey, and all the things that went with it filling the air. Jake's wife, Monica, grabbed Lily immediately and pulled her toward the kitchen, leaving Daniel with Jake and Marcus. She's great, Jake said without preamble. I know. You better not screw this up. I'm trying not to. Try harder, Marcus added. Monica already wants to plan your wedding. We've been together 2 months. And? When you know, you know. Daniel watched Lily through the doorway, already laughing with Monica and the other women, fitting in like she'd always been there. Yeah, he said quietly. You do. Dinner was chaos and warmth and exactly what Thanksgiving was supposed to be. Too much food, too many people talking over each other, Emma sitting between Daniel and Lily like this was exactly where she belonged. Monica gave a toast before they ate, something about family and gratitude and the people who made life worth living. Daniel caught Lily's eye across the table and saw his own feelings reflected back at him. This was it. This was what he'd been missing. Not just someone to be with, but someone to build a life with. Someone who saw him completely and stayed anyway. After dinner, after pie and coffee, and watching Emma fall asleep on the couch surrounded by other sleeping kids, Daniel and Lily stepped outside for air. The night was cold, stars bright overhead, their breath-making clouds in the darkness. "Thank you for bringing me," Lily said. "Thank you for coming. Your friends are great. Emma's great. This whole day was great." "But?" "No but." She turned to face him. "I'm just happy. That's all. Really, genuinely happy." Daniel pulled her close, wrapped his arms around her, and let himself feel it too. The happiness, the certainty. The knowledge that this woman was his and he was hers, and maybe that was enough. "I love you," he said into her hair. "I love you too." And standing there in Jake's driveway under cold stars, Daniel finally let himself believe it. The problem arrived on a Tuesday in early December, disguised as a phone call Daniel almost didn't answer. Unknown number, probably spam. He was loading groceries into the car with Emma singing off key in the back seat when his phone rang for the third time. "Hello? Daniel? It's Sarah." The world tilted sideways. Daniel gripped the cart handle, suddenly aware of how loud the parking lot was, how bright the afternoon sun felt. "Sarah," he said, and Emma stopped singing. "I know this is unexpected. I wasn't sure if you'd answer. What do you want?" A pause. "I'm in town. I was hoping we could talk. About Emma." Daniel's blood went cold. "What about Emma?" "Not on the phone. Can we meet somewhere? Coffee, maybe? Tomorrow?" "No." "Daniel? You don't get to call out of nowhere and make demands. You left. You don't get to just show up 4 years later and, I'm not making demands. I'm asking. Please." Something in her voice stopped him. Not the manipulation he remembered, but something else. Uncertainty, maybe? Or fear. "Why are you really here?" he asked. "I told you. I want to talk about Emma." "About what specifically?" Another pause. "About being part of her life again." The groceries were getting warm. Emma was watching him through the window with wide eyes. Daniel felt like he was falling. "One coffee," he said. "That's it?" "Thank you. Tomorrow at 10? That place on Main Street?" "Fine." He hung up and stood there, frozen, until Emma tapped on the window. "Dad? Was that Mom?" Daniel opened the car door, his hands shaking. "Yeah, baby, that was your mom." "What did she want?" "I don't know yet." That night after Emma was asleep, Daniel sat on his porch in the cold and tried to figure out what the hell he was going to do. Sarah was here, in town, wanting to talk about Emma, about being part of her life. 4 years of silence, and now this. His door opened and Lily stepped out, wrapped in a blanket, carrying 2 mugs of tea. "Emma texted me," she said, sitting beside him. "Told me you were upset." "She has your number memorized now?" "She's efficient." Lily handed him a mug. "Want to talk about it?" Daniel took a sip. Too hot, but he didn't care. "Emma's mom called. She's here. Wants to meet tomorrow." Lily went very still. "Here as in town? Yeah. What does she want?" "Says she wants to talk about being part of Emma's life again." "And what do you want?" "I want her to disappear. I want her to have never called. I want—" He stopped, frustrated. "I don't know what I want." Lily was quiet for a moment. "What does Emma want?" "I haven't asked her." "Maybe you should." "She's 6. She doesn't remember Sarah." "What if I let this happen and Sarah leaves again? What if Emma gets attached and then you deal with it, together?" Lily set down her mug and took his hand. "I know you're scared, but you can't make this decision based on what might happen. You have to think about what Emma needs. What if what she needs is for her mom to stay gone? What if what she needs is a chance to know her?" Daniel pulled his hand away, stood up, started pacing. "You don't understand. Sarah doesn't get to do this. She doesn't get to walk away and then waltz back in whenever she feels like it." "You're right. I don't understand. I've never been in this situation." Lily's voice was calm, steady. But I do understand that Emma's going to grow up with questions, and maybe having some answers is better than having none. What if Sarah wants custody? Then you fight it. You've been Emma's parent for 4 years. You're not going to lose her. You can't know that. I know you love that little girl more than anything in the world. I know you've built a life for her, a good life. I know that matters. Daniel stopped pacing and looked at Lily, sitting on his porch wrapped in a blanket, looking at him with those eyes that saw everything. I'm scared, he admitted. I know. What if this ruins everything? What if it doesn't? Lily stood and walked over to him. You can't control what Sarah does or doesn't do. All you can control is how you handle it, and whatever happens, I'm here. We'll figure it out. We? Yes, we. You don't get to go through this alone anymore. She wrapped her arms around him. You've got me, and you've got Emma, and you've got Marcus, and everyone else who loves you. Sarah doesn't get to take that away. Daniel held on to her like she was the only solid thing in a world that was tilting. What am I going to tell Emma? He asked. The truth, that her mom wants to talk, that you're going to listen, that no matter what happens, you're not going anywhere. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just weren't paying attention. Daniel almost smiled. Almost. The next morning, he sat Emma down before school. Remember how your mom called yesterday? Emma nodded, suddenly serious in the way kids got when they knew something big was coming. I'm going to meet her today, to talk. About what? About you. About whether she wants to be part of your life. Emma was quiet for a long moment, picking at the edge of her placemat. Do you want her to be? That's not my decision. It's yours. I don't remember her. I know. Do you think she's nice? Daniel chose his words carefully. I think she's trying to figure some things out, just like we all are. Will I have to see her? Not if you don't want to, but if you do want to, we can make that happen. Emma looked up at him with those eyes that were too knowing for 6 years old. Are you scared? Yeah, baby, I am. Me too. Daniel pulled her into a hug. Whatever happens, you and me, we're solid, okay? Nothing changes that. Okay. Emma pulled back. Can Miss Lily come with you to meet Mom? Why would she do that? Because she makes you brave. Out of the mouths of children, every single time. Daniel didn't ask Lily to come, but when he got to the coffee shop 10 minutes early, she was already there, sitting in the corner with 2 cups of coffee. Emma texted me, Lily said when he sat down, said you needed backup. I told her not to bother you. She didn't bother me. I wanted to be here. Lily, this is complicated. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. She pushed a coffee toward him. Besides, if Sarah's going to be part of Emma's life, she should probably meet me. We don't know what she wants yet. Then let's find out together. Sarah walked in at exactly 10 o'clock. She looked different than Daniel remembered, older, thinner, her hair shorter, but her eyes were the same, the ones Emma had inherited. She stopped when she saw Lily. Daniel, she said carefully. Sarah, this is Lily, my girlfriend. Something flickered across Sarah's face. Surprise, maybe, or something else. It's nice to meet you. You too, Lily said, which was generous considering. Sarah sat down, ordered coffee from a passing server, and folded her hands on the table. Thank you for meeting me. You said you wanted to talk about Emma. I do. She stopped, started again. I've been doing a lot of work on myself. Therapy, mostly. Trying to figure out why I am the way I am, why I ran. Daniel said nothing. I was 23 when I had Emma. 23 and terrified and completely unprepared, and instead of dealing with that, I pretended I could handle it. Until I couldn't. Sarah's voice was quiet. Leaving was the worst thing I ever did. I know that. But at the time, I thought it was the right thing. Thought you and Emma would be better off without me. We were, Daniel said, and watched her flinch. I know. I know you were. You're a great father, Daniel. You always were. I was the problem, not you. Why are you here, Sarah, really? Because I want a chance to know my daughter, not to take her from you or disrupt your life, just to know her, to maybe be something to her, even if it's just a person who exists. You had 4 years to do that. I know, and I wasted them. But I'm here now, and I'm asking, please, let me try. Daniel looked at her, this woman he'd once loved enough to marry, saw the fear in her eyes, the genuine remorse. It didn't erase what she'd done, didn't fix the years of absence, but it was something. Emma doesn't remember you, he said. I know. She has a good life, a stable life. She has people who love her and show up for her. I know that too. And if you do this, if I let you do this, you don't get to leave again. You don't get to show up for a few months and then disappear when it gets hard. Either you're in or you're out. But once you're in, you stay. Sarah nodded. I understand. I don't think you do. Because if you hurt her, if you make her care about you, and then you bail, I will never forgive you, and you'll never get another chance. I won't hurt her. I promise. Promises don't mean much from you. It was harsh, but it was true, and they both knew it. Lily spoke for the first time since Sarah sat down. What are you doing now? For work? For life? Sarah looked at her. I'm a nurse, working at County General. I moved back here 2 months ago for the job. And you waited 2 months to reach out? I was scared. I didn't know how to just show up after all this time. But you're ready now? As ready as I'll ever be. Lily looked at Daniel. What do you think? I think I need to talk to Emma, see what she wants. That's fair, Sarah said quickly. Whatever she wants. I'll follow her lead. They talked for another 20 minutes. Logistics, expectations, boundaries. Sarah said all the right things, made all the right promises. Daniel wanted to believe her, wanted to think people could change, but he'd believed her before. When Sarah left, Daniel and Lily sat in the coffee shop alone. You okay? Lily asked. I don't know. Are you? Me? This affects you too. If Sarah's part of Emma's life, that means she's part of our life. Lily reached across the table and took his hand. I can handle it. Just like that? Just like that. She squeezed his fingers. Emma comes first. Always. Whatever she needs, we figure it out. When did you become the mature one in this relationship? I've always been the mature one. You're just noticing now. Daniel smiled despite everything. Thank you for being here. Where else would I be? That night, he talked to Emma, told her about the meeting, about Sarah's request, about the choice that was hers to make. What do you think I should do? Emma asked. I think you should do whatever feels right to you. What if I don't know what feels right? Then we figure it out together. Emma was quiet, drawing circles on the table with her finger. Does Miss Lily think I should see her? Miss Lily thinks you should do whatever makes you happy. What if seeing her doesn't make me happy? Then you don't have to see her again. But what if it does make me happy and then she leaves? There it was, the fear Daniel had been carrying, articulated by his 6-year-old daughter. Then we deal with it, Daniel said. Together, me and you and Miss Lily and everyone who loves you. We deal with it and we move forward. Emma looked up at him. You promise you won't leave? Never, not ever. Well, what about Miss Lily? She's not going anywhere either. How do you know? Because she told me, and I believe her. Emma thought about this. Okay, I want to meet Mom, just once, to see what she's like. Daniel's chest went tight. Yeah? Yeah. But you have to come with me. And Miss Lily too, if she wants. I think she'd want to. Good. Emma went back to her drawing. Can we have spaghetti for dinner? And just like that, the conversation was over, because that's how kids worked. Monumental decisions followed by requests for pasta. The meeting happened on a Saturday afternoon at the park. Neutral territory, Daniel insisted. Somewhere Emma felt comfortable. Sarah showed up exactly on time, holding a small gift bag that she clutched like a lifeline. Emma stood between Daniel and Lily, holding both their hands. Hi, Emma, Sarah said, her voice shaking slightly. I'm Sarah, I'm your mom. Emma studied her with the serious expression she used when she was thinking hard. You look like the picture Dad has. He has a picture. In his drawer, I found it once. You have the same eyes as me. I do. Sarah crouched down to Emma's level. I brought you something. if that's okay. Emma looked at Daniel, who nodded. Sarah handed her the bag. Inside was a stuffed octopus, purple, with all 8 legs. Dad said you like octopuses, Sarah said. Emma's face lit up. I do. Did you know they have 3 hearts? I didn't know that. And they can change colors and squeeze through tiny spaces, and they're really smart. Emma hugged the octopus. What's its name? I don't know. What do you think it should be? Emma thought hard. Neptune, because he's the ocean one. Neptune's perfect. They talked for 20 minutes. Small talk, careful talk, the kind of conversation you had with someone who is familiar and strange at the same time. Sarah asked about school, about friends, about Captain Bubbles, who had somehow survived 3 months of Emma's care. Daniel watched, ready to intervene if needed, but Emma handled it like she handled everything, with complete honesty and zero filter. Do you want to be my mom again? Emma asked suddenly. Sarah went very still. I'd like to try, if that's okay with you. What does trying look like? Maybe we could see each other sometimes. Get to know each other. I could come to your school things if you wanted. Or we could do stuff together, like go to the aquarium or get ice cream. The aquarium's really cool. We went with Miss Lily. She knows a lot about fish. Sarah glanced at Lily, who smiled slightly. I'd love to go to the aquarium with you sometime, Sarah said. That sounds good. Emma looked at Daniel again. He couldn't tell her what to do, couldn't make this decision for her. All he could do was nod, let her know it was okay. Okay, Emma said. We can try. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. They stayed another 10 minutes, then Emma got distracted by the playground and ran off with Neptune the octopus. Sarah stood, wiping her eyes. Thank you. Both of you. I know this isn't easy. It's not, Daniel said. But Emma deserves a chance to know you. Just don't make me regret this. I won't. I promise. After Sarah left, Daniel and Lily sat on a bench while Emma played. You okay? Lily asked. I don't know. Maybe? He leaned back, watching his daughter climb on monkey bars that looked too high. What if she leaves again? Then Emma will be sad and you'll help her through it and she'll survive. Kids are resilient. What if Emma gets hurt? She will get hurt, that's life, but she'll also get loved and supported, and she'll know that no matter what Sarah does, she has you. Lily leaned her head on his shoulder. You can't protect her from everything, Daniel. You can only love her through it. When did you get so smart? I keep telling you, I've always been smart. Emma ran over, breathless and grinning. Did you see me? I went all the way across. I saw, very impressive. Neptune watched too. He was scared, but I told him it was safe. Oh, good job taking care of him. Emma climbed into Lily's lap, completely comfortable, completely trusting. Are we going to see Mom again? Do you want to? Daniel asked. I think so. She seems nice, and she knew about the octopus thing. I told her you liked them. That was nice of you. Emma played with Neptune's tentacles. Is it okay if I like her? Even if you're still mad at her? Daniel's throat went tight. Yeah, baby. It's okay. You can like whoever you want. Good. Because I think I might like her. But I love you and Miss Lily most. Lily kissed the top of Emma's head, and Daniel felt something shift. Not the bad kind of shift, the kind that meant disaster. The good kind. The kind that meant growth. The next few months were an adjustment. Sarah started slowly, 1 visit a week, supervised by Daniel, always in public places. She showed up on time, brought thoughtful gifts, asked good questions. She was trying, genuinely trying, and it showed. Emma warmed to her gradually. Stopped calling her Sarah and started calling her Mom, which hurt Daniel more than he wanted to admit, but was also somehow right. You okay with that? Marcus asked one night at the bar. I have to be, Daniel said. She's Emma's mom. I can't erase that. But she's not Emma's parent. You are. I know, but Emma's big enough for both of us. And she was. Emma had this massive capacity for love, this ability to make room for everyone without diminishing anyone. She loved Sarah without loving Daniel less. She loved Lily without it being complicated. Kids were better at this than adults. By March, Sarah was coming to school events. By April, she was doing every other Saturday outings on her own. By May, she'd proven herself consistent enough that Daniel started to relax. Started to believe maybe this would work. One Saturday in June, Sarah picked Emma up for their usual outing, and Emma came home talking about Sarah's apartment. "She has a balcony," Emma said, "and a cat named Whiskers who's really fat." "Sounds nice," Daniel said. "She asked if I wanted to have sleepovers sometime." Daniel froze. "What did you tell her?" "I said I'd ask you." Emma looked at him. "Can I? Have sleepovers?" This was it. The moment Daniel had been dreading. The moment where Sarah became more than just supervised visits and structured outings. "Let me think about it," he said. That night, he talked to Lily. "She's been consistent for 6 months," Lily said, "and Emma wants to." But what if what? What if Sarah's actually changed? What if she's actually trying to be a good mom? Lily took his hands. "You can't keep waiting for her to fail, Daniel. At some point, you have to give her a chance to succeed." "I'm scared." "I know, but Emma's not scared, and maybe we should follow her lead." Daniel called Sarah the next day. "Emma said you asked about sleepovers." "I did. I understand if you're not comfortable with that yet." "I'm not. But Emma wants to, so we can try. One night. And I want to see your apartment first." "Of course. Whenever works for you." They scheduled it for the following Saturday. Daniel brought Lily because he needed the backup, and Emma because it was her decision ultimately. Sarah's apartment was small but clean. Books on the shelves, photos on the walls, some of Emma from recent outings, which made Daniel's chest tight. Whiskers, the cat, was indeed very fat. "It's nice," Emma said, petting the cat. "Can I see my room?" "Your room?" "The room I'd sleep in." Sarah showed her the guest room she'd set up. Twin bed with purple sheets, Emma's favorite color. Stuffed animals on the shelf. A nightlight shaped like a moon. "You did all this for me?" Emma asked. "I wanted you to feel at home here." Emma hugged her, spontaneous and fierce, and Daniel watched Sarah's face crumble with emotion. This was real. Sarah was really trying. The first sleepover happened 2 weeks later. Daniel dropped Emma off with her overnight bag and approximately 800 reminders about calling if she needed anything. "I'll be fine, Dad," Emma said, rolling her eyes in that way kids did when their parents were being overprotective. "I know, but humor me. I always humor you." He hugged her longer than necessary, then let her go. That night, he and Lily had the house to themselves for the first time since they'd started dating. "What do you want to do?" Lily asked. "I don't know. What do people without kids do?" "I have no idea. I've been pretending to be a parent for months." They ended up ordering Chinese food and watching a movie, but Daniel couldn't focus. He kept checking his phone, waiting for Emma to call and say she wanted to come home. The call never came. Emma came home Sunday afternoon full of stories about making pancakes with Sarah and teaching Whiskers to high-five and staying up too late watching movies. "Did you have fun?" Daniel asked. "So much fun. Can I go back next month?" "We'll see." But he knew the answer was yes, because Emma was happy and Sarah was showing up, and maybe, possibly, this was going to work. Summer turned to fall. Sarah became a regular presence in their lives. Not intrusive, not trying to replace Daniel, but there. Part of Emma's world in a way that felt natural instead of forced. One October evening, almost a year after Lily had first knocked on Daniel's door with lasagna, they were all together, Daniel, Lily, Emma, and Sarah, at Emma's school carnival. Watching Emma run around with her friends, laughing, completely secure in the knowledge that she was loved by everyone around her. "She's a great kid," Sarah said quietly. "Yeah, she is," Daniel agreed. "You did that. You gave her that security, that happiness. I can never make up for the years I missed, but thank you for being the parent she needed." Daniel looked at Sarah, really looked at her, and saw someone who'd done the hard work of changing, who'd faced her demons and come out the other side. "You're doing good now," he said. "That's what matters." Sarah smiled, tentative but real. "Thanks." Later, after they'd taken Emma home and put her to bed, Daniel and Lily sat on the porch like they had 100 times before. "You okay?" Lily asked. "Yeah. Actually, I am." Sarah's really stepped up. "She has." Daniel took Lily's hand. "I couldn't have done this without you. Any of it." "Sure you could have." "No, I couldn't. You made me believe things could be good again, that I could trust again, that I deserved. He stopped, the words catching. Deserved what? This, you, all of it. Lily shifted closer. You know what I think? What? I think we deserve each other. I think Emma deserves both of us. I think we're building something real here, something good, and maybe it's not perfect, but it's ours. It's definitely not perfect. Perfect's boring anyway. Daniel laughed and pulled her close and thought about how far they'd come. From neighbors who barely spoke to this, whatever this was. Family, maybe, or something close enough that the distinction didn't matter. Lily? Yeah? Move in with us. She pulled back to look at him. What? Move in, with me and Emma. Stop living 30 feet away and just be here. Officially. Daniel, you're here every night anyway. Your toothbrush is in our bathroom. Emma has a drawer of your clothes in her room for when she spills things on you. You're already part of this family. Let's make it official. Lily's eyes were bright. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything. What about Emma? Did you ask her? She's the one who suggested it. Of course she did. Lily laughed, tears running down her face. Yes. Yes. I'll move in. Yeah? Yeah. Daniel kissed her. There on the porch where they'd had so many conversations, solved so many problems, built the foundation of whatever they were becoming. When they broke apart, Emma was standing in the doorway in her pajamas. Did she say yes? Emma asked. You're supposed to be asleep, Daniel said. I was thirsty. Did she say yes? She said yes. Emma whooped and launched herself at Lily, who caught her and spun her around, both of them laughing. Daniel watched them, his daughter and the woman he loved, and felt something settle in his chest. Not the absence of fear. He'd probably always be a little afraid of losing this, but the presence of something stronger. Hope, trust, love. The certainty that whatever came next, they'd face it together. Lily moved in 2 weeks later. It wasn't dramatic or complicated. She'd been spending most of her time there anyway, so it was mostly just making official what was already true. Emma helped her unpack, offering commentary on where everything should go. Your books should go here, next to Dad's terrible books. My books aren't terrible, Daniel protested. You have 3 books about lawn care. You don't even have a lawn. I might get a lawn someday. That's what someone with terrible books would say. Lily laughed and kissed the top of Emma's head. I like your dad's terrible books. That's because you're in love with him. Guilty. That night, after Emma was asleep and the boxes were mostly unpacked, Daniel and Lily lay in bed in the darkness. This is real now, Lily said. It was always real. You know what I mean. We're doing this, building a life together. Having second thoughts? Not even a little bit. She rolled over to face him. I love you. I love Emma. I love this messy, complicated, beautiful thing we're building. Even when I'm being an idiot? Especially when you're being an idiot. Daniel pulled her closer. I love you too. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for letting me in. They fell asleep like that, tangled together, and Daniel thought about how much had changed in a year, how one person showing up with lasagna had somehow transformed everything. The next morning, Emma woke them up by jumping on the bed. Miss Lily, you're still here. Of course I'm still here. I live here now. I know, but I wanted to make sure it was real. It's real. Lily pulled Emma into a hug. I'm not going anywhere. Promise? Promise. Emma looked at Daniel. You promise too. I promise. Good. Emma wiggled free. Can we have pancakes? Miss Lily makes them better than you. That's objectively true, Daniel agreed. They went downstairs as a family, the 3 of them together, figuring it out as they went. It wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, still moments of doubt, still the occasional burnt toast, but it was theirs, and that was enough. 6 months later, on a spring afternoon that felt like a gift, Daniel stood in his backyard watching Emma and Sarah plant flowers in the garden bed Lily had insisted they needed. Emma was covered in dirt, Sarah was laughing, and Lily was taking pictures of the whole thing. Marcus appeared at his elbow with a beer. You did good, man. I got lucky. That too. But you also showed up. You did the hard work. You let people in. Marcus clinked his bottle against Daniel's. You should be proud. Daniel watched his daughter dig in the dirt, completely happy. Watched Lily join them, getting just as dirty. Watched Sarah, who'd somehow become a real parent over the past year, show Emma how to transplant a seedling. This was his life now, complicated, messy, full of people who'd hurt him, and people who'd healed him, and people who'd shown up when he needed them most. Yeah, Daniel said quietly. I am proud. That night, after everyone had gone home and Emma was asleep, Daniel and Lily sat on the porch. Their porch now. Their home. What are you thinking about? Lily asked. How different everything is from a year ago. Good different or bad different? Good. Definitely good. He took her hand. You changed everything. You know that? We changed everything. Together. Together, Daniel agreed. Lily leaned her head on his shoulder, and they sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars come out. Emma was safe upstairs. Sarah was proving herself day by day. Marcus and the rest of their friends were solid. And Lily was here, steady and real and exactly where she belonged. Daniel had spent years being afraid. Afraid of trusting, afraid of hoping, afraid of believing good things could last. But sitting there with Lily, in the home they'd built together, with the family they'd created through choice and love and showing up every single day, he realized something. He wasn't afraid anymore. Or maybe he was, but it didn't matter. Because love was always scary. Opening yourself up was always a risk. But the alternative, living behind walls, keeping everyone at a distance, protecting yourself from pain, that wasn't living at all. I'm glad you didn't give up on me, Daniel said. I'm glad you let me in. Best decision I ever made. Second best, Lily corrected. First was Emma. Fair point. They sat there until the cold drove them inside, and Daniel thought about timing, about how Lily had said love didn't arrive at the perfect time. It arrived when it was real. And she'd been right. Nothing about this had been perfect. The timing was complicated, the circumstances messy, the path forward uncertain. But it was real. It was theirs. And somehow, that made it perfect anyway. Emma appeared in the doorway, clutching Neptune the octopus. Can't sleep. Come here, baby. She climbed between them on the couch, and Lily pulled a blanket over all three of them. Tell me a story, Emma said. What kind of story? Daniel asked. A happy one? About a family. Lily caught Daniel's eye and smiled. Once upon a time, she began, there was a girl who moved to a new neighborhood and met the most wonderful family. What happened? Emma asked, already knowing the answer but wanting to hear it anyway. She stayed, Lily said simply, and they all lived happily ever after. Emma nodded, satisfied, and closed her eyes. Daniel looked at his daughter curled up between him and Lily, safe and loved and completely secure. Looked at the woman who'd taken a chance on him, who'd seen past his walls and his fear and loved him anyway. This was his life now. Not the one he'd planned, not the one he'd imagined at 22 or even 32, but it was his, built on second chances and honest conversations and showing up even when it was hard. And it was enough, more than enough. It was everything.